I talk a lot of smack about annual releases, specifically sports games. I'm of the belief that they tend to add the bare minimum and are more often than not like glorified roster updates, as 1 year really isn't much time to do a major overhaul to a game, and they do sell, so why put in more effort than you have to? But about a week ago, I started hearing that the latest WWE game, WWE 2K20, was taking things a step further, not even being a minor upgrade, rather a significant downgrade from previous entries, with many calling it one of the worst entries in the entire series. The footage I was seeing, I found hard to believe, like maybe this was early development footage that was making the rounds or something. But then the game released and I see Fix WWE 2K20 become a trending hashtag on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, I gotta check this out to see if it's really that bad, and whew, now that I have, I'm a believer. Let's start with just the character models. One of the highlights of newer wrestling games are getting increasingly realistic depictions of your favorite wrestlers. Mega superstars like The Rock? Yeah, for a lot of these characters, I can't even say an attempt was made to get their likeness down. Many of these models, for some of the more popular characters, are way, way, way off. I mean, who the hell is this hobo? Randy Savage? That's supposed to be the Macho Man. And the women, oh my god, what did they do to them? I promise you, the WWE chicks are mostly hot as hell. These Mongoloid models are not representative of what they look like. Even one of the game's cover stars, Becky Lynch, couldn't escape this. I mean, listen, 2K, I know Becky Lynch's nickname is The Man, but I think you guys took it a bit far here. And in terms of the claims that this is an actual downgrade from the last game, for example, this is Bianca Belair. Her gimmick is that she uses her long ponytail as a weapon, so her entrance has her coming out swinging the ponytail around with her hand. Here's what her entrance looks like from last year's game, WWE 2K19. Okay, so there you go, that was the previous game. Now here's her entrance in the newest game, 2K20.
Making her way to the ring, from Knoxville, Tennessee, Bianca Belair!
And if you want to create your own monstrosity, yes, it gets even worse. The game has, of course, the Create Your Own Superstar suite, plenty of glitches there. It feels like the Create a Superstar didn't even get an initial QA pass. Wait, I just wanted to give him a different face. I didn't want to add a face. And of course, not only that, you get to take those characters through the My Career mode, which is a story mode of sorts where you see your creations rise through the ranks of the wrestling world, complete with cutscenes that look straight out of the PS2. Actually, I think I would prefer PS2 era cutscenes over what we got here.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have a long way to go before we can be mentioned in the same sentence as those legends.
I can't. He has too many faces. In terms of the actual gameplay, as you've likely heard or even seen online, the game is buggy, glitchy as all hell. It doesn't even take much to have the whole thing totally break down and stop working. It's almost like the game is trying to kill itself, which I can't blame it for. But even when it is sort of working, it's so sluggish. Ever since these games went the simulator route, it does feel like things get slower every year. The characters control like friggin' tanks. If you're in a multi-person match and you're trying to target different characters, good luck. Hit detection is all over the place. I feel like I honestly have better luck hitting guys when my character isn't even facing them. There's a stamina system, so as the match progresses, that will make your character even slower, which is somehow possible, as well as take you even longer to get up once you get knocked down. I swear you will spend more time waiting for your character to get back up every time they're knocked down than you'll spend actually playing, which is fun. Isn't it great just watching your characters take a nap while you spam buttons? I get, once more, it's supposed to be a simulator, but the characters, they're not real. They don't have to actually catch their breath. This might be a kind of out there wild idea, but maybe the game would be more fun if you let people play the game. Also, with the simulator approach, It feels like as you want things to look more real, they look more ridiculous when, physics and animations glitch out in that. If you're familiar with the Royal Rumbles in wrestling games, I thought this was particularly fun. You pick your character, but you also get to play as other characters as you wait for your guy to come out, at which time you're switched to the character you picked, and you can also play as other characters after your guy gets eliminated. Basically, it's so you're not just sitting there on your hands most of the time. And they kind of do that here, but of course there's a bug. So when I played a Royal Rumble match, I picked Sting as my character, but when the match started, I decided to play as Randy Orton. And when it was Sting's turn to come out, it didn't switch me to Sting. It gave me control of both characters. So all my inputs on one controller went towards both characters. You can see here them mimicking, doing exactly the same movements. I tried to use this to my advantage and have them work together, but they just ended up hitting each other more often than not. Which brings us to the online. God help you if you're even trying to get into an online match in this game. It took me over a half hour of trying to actually get into my first one. Constantly having the game crash during loading. There's even a bug that will leave you in an endless loading screen, which this doesn't only happen in online, it happens in the other modes too. So you'll have like that little circle rotating in the corner to make it seem like, oh, it's still loading, but no, the match will never start. If you persevere, when you finally do get into an online match, surprise, it's the same game, but even slower and worse. Again, all kinds of weird match bugs. I had one where it was supposed to be an elimination chamber match, which is a cage match of sorts, where characters enter the match one at a time, but when the match started, no cage, everyone's in the ring, nothing matters. And if you want even more WWE 2K20 in your life, I don't know, maybe you're a masochist or something, don't forget to buy the additional Day 1 DLC, delayed Day 1 DLC, I should add. This includes the Bump in the Night pack that gives you access to spoopy characters and arenas, I guess because the game released in October. Note for big wrestling fans, Bray Wyatt's new Fiend gimmick is locked behind this. This was a character that many fans were eager to play in this game, so if you didn't pre-order the game, be prepared to shell out, I think, an extra $15 for that. There is no excuse for a AAA game to be released in this state. I know it's become common practice for games these days to need an early patch to iron out a lot of their issues, but in many instances, this game is literally unplayable. I would go as far to say I don't see why anyone would actually want to play it. It feels almost as though this was a test to see if consumers will actually put up with anything when it comes to these annual sorts of releases, which is why I'm glad the backlash has been so excessive. It's important to put a spotlight on these companies when they essentially try to rob people with such piss-poor products. 2K has proven once more they just can't be trusted. For you wrestling fans out there who are looking for a game to play, may I just suggest picking up last year's 2K19? You can probably get it for like less than $10 now. Or even better, dust off the N64, play one of those classic games, or something even like Fire Pro Wrestling. But when it comes to WWE 2K20, please do not try this at home.
Well, The Rock says if you are the game, then quite frankly, you need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks!